Greetings to one and all. This is Doc I coming at you live and direct today from Black Facts Headquarters Central. Hope everybody is doing really fine, got a good night's rest in, and is ready to enjoy this new day because it's about to get divine. Yes. While we're on the topic of divining, prophesying, predicting the future, I predict that those of you who like what you see are going to give us a like. And those of you who like what you hear are going to give us a thumbs up. And that those of you who like what you're seeing and what you hear are going to not only give us a like and a thumbs up, but will subscribe below to Tubular Black Facts coming at you blacker and stronger than ever before. We really appreciate your support. Thank you so much. Meanwhile, let's carry on. Let's get on with the getting on. We got our proverb to read today. Let's see what proverb we get today. Okay, all right. We're going to go with a real simple one. I think this is from Senegal as well. Matter of fact, I'm almost sure of it. Let's see. Nope, Somalia. All right, so East Africa, also known as one of the provinces of Ethiopia. One cannot count on riches. One cannot count on riches. A Somalian proverb. One cannot count on riches. You might have it, and then again, you might not. It might help you, and then again, it might not. And following that, we'll follow that up with a poem. We're going to read a poem here for you from an anthology of Swahili love poetry. Now, this one is a very interesting one because it has a explanation of the poem that I'm going to read after I read the poem. So I'm going to read the poem first and let you just hear the words roll right off of my lips, and hopefully it does just that because I have not read this poem before. So let's see how I do. Mazoea yana tabu, tabia zikili ngana tena ni kubwa adhabu. Watu nini kuachana hamuioni sababu. Maovu kutendiana. That one is hard. Maovu kutendiana. Usiku kucha silali. Nikapo hukuona zina niruka akili. Hukuita kwa lako jina. Kumbe ni chako kivuli. Mwenyewe sinawe tena. Nyama zetu za ulimi ambazo tukipeana na mengineyo sisemi. Mengi tukifanyiana ni mageni kwangu mimi. Sijapata kuyaona mithali watoto pacha. Jinsi tulivyi. Ooh, wow, that one is really hard. Viofanana. Mpenzi umeni wacha. Uhe sinao tena. Nate seka kutwa kucha. Dawa yangu kukuona. Whoa, that was definitely not easy. Now, in English, hopefully I'll be able to read this a little easier. What one has been accustomed to is a problem. What we were once used to is now a problem. Our natures harmonized together, and it is a great torture, you people, to part. You do not see the cause of doing one another harm. The whole night I do not sleep. When I am sitting, I see you. My senses are flying away from me. I call you by your name, but lo, it is only your shadow. I do not have you yourself anymore. The flesh of our tongue, which we used to exchange. But I do not say more about the many things we used to do for each other. They are strange things for me. I have never seen them since. Like two twins, we resembled each other. Darling, you have deserted me. I have lost my life. I suffer from sunset till sunrise. Only seeing you will cure me. Now, I said it's from the book, An Anthology of Swahili Love Poetry. But you know how poets are. There's a lot of times there's more going on in a poem than what appears to be going on the surface. And so it is with this one. So the explanation that goes along with the poem is, after the Zanzibar Revolution of 1964, the third stanza, the one about the whole night I do not sleep, when I'm sitting I see you and my senses are flying away from me, etc. That part was deleted from the song. The first lines of the third stanza are evidently erotic. Yet it was not this that the government objected to. It was the last two lines of stanza 3, which to the listeners were a clear reference to the revolution itself, signifying the poet's disagreement with the situation. One may therefore suspect that the whole song alludes covertly to the political situation and is not merely erotic. The flesh of the tongue is a figure of speech for talking freely. The poet is clearly complaining that this is no longer possible. Only in dreams does he relive the good old times. Is the beloved who has deserted him perhaps liberty? Okay? And so there you have it. Politics, poetry, and love all mixed up into one black bag. So we go right from there to Schuyler's. I talked to my daughter, the linguist, yesterday, and she assures me that the best way to say this man's name is George S. Schuyler. And you see it right there on the back of the book, George S. Schuyler. Okay? So we're going to say Schuyler until further notice. And we're on chapter 5 of the story, Revolt in Ethiopia, a black insurrection against Italian imperialism, if you'd like to know the whole title. Bill turned the doorknob and pushed. The door was locked. He pressed the button and heard the bell ring within. He was debating with himself about notifying the steward when the door opened slightly and swiftly, and a second later, he was gazing into the muzzle of a .45 automatic pistol. "Inside," growled the masked man confronting him. He stepped back to permit Bill to enter. "Put your hands behind you," the man commanded again in hard, cruel tones. Bill obeyed. A moment later, the handcuffs clicked and the cold steel gripped his wrists. The man pushed him into a chair and switched on the light. The suite was in complete disorder. Drawers from the chiffonier were in the center of the room. Clothing from the closet was strewn every which way. The trunks were open, and with their wrists handcuffed behind them and their ankles securely tied with stout cord, lay the Princess Zunda and Dick Welland. Another masked man was carefully searching Dick's clothing. Bill was promptly searched. and ordered to lie down alongside the others. The two masked men conversed animatedly in Italian, went over the suite carefully once more, apparently without favorable result. Finally, they gave it up. While one of the thugs covered them with a pistol Dick thought looked suspiciously like his very own .38, the other man took off the handcuffs and unbound their ankles. Then, without a word, they disappeared. When Bill looked out the door, they were nowhere in sight. Well, said Dick, rubbing his ankles, whatever they were looking for, they evidently did not find. I wonder what it was. Something very valuable, she said. One of the most valuable objects in the world. I barely saved it. What is it? If they'll go to all this trouble to get it, it certainly must be worth its weight in diamonds. It is, she admitted quietly. With it in their hands, our cause would be lost and their cause would be won. I don't understand, Princess. Don't you think I deserve an explanation after all that has happened? He thought that for the first time, she looked just a little uncertain and helpless. She looked at him searchingly. She seemed to want to tell him something, but couldn't. In that moment, all his sense of chivalry was aroused. The girl was in trouble and all alone. And as she had said in the dining salon, I'm sorry, she said, and her tone did not belie her. But who can one trust? I asked for your help a few minutes ago and you hesitated. Surely that doesn't merit you receiving any further explanation. Of course, I'm sorry that you have become in any way involved. Her voice trailed off. In that moment, Dick made a momentous decision. You can count on me, Princess, he declared quietly. I'll see this thing through, whatever it is, because I like you and want to help you. And I need your help too. This last outrage proves how desperate my enemies are. The Italianos? Yes, the Italianos, and certain traitors among our own people. All this time, Bill was standing by, waiting for Dick to tell him what to do. But when he heard the word Italian, it started a train of thought. Say, Chief, he blurted, I think I got the lowdown on them guys. Yes? How? Bill then related how he had followed Dona Gabriele to the cabin of Don Carlos Navade, how the dark man with the cape had emerged to be followed by a man who closely resembled one of the men who had just left the princess's suite. That dark man with the cape was the Duke of Dessay, Dick explained. And I'll be willing to bet anything, boss, that he's tied up with them Italians. Else what would he be doing in the cabin with the Italian girl and that mug that handcuffed us? You're right, Bill. Now, you better go down and see if they haven't rifled your cabin. Yes, sir. I bet they've been down there at my place, all right, since they know I'm working for you. Bill went out just as the maid came in, responded to the princess's ring, and began straightening up things. Dick and the princess talked inconsequentially until she had tidied up and gone. Then as they sipped highballs, she told him of her mission. You have heard of Emperor Menelik? Yes? Her long-lashed black eyes glowed as she talked. Of course. Who hasn't? Well, he always believed that the day would come when Ethiopia would again be attacked by Italy. He knew it would cost a vast sum of money for Ethiopia to purchase the wherewithal of modern warfare. So he accumulated gold and precious stones from every part of the empire until he possessed an enormous store of wealth. This he hid away in a secret place, guarded by 1,000 picked men, warlike priests of the Coptic Church, high on an almost inaccessible peak. And just how do you plan to get to it? He asked, smiling. There's only one way, and that is to give the Coptic bishop truly hand him the sign. What sign? I'll tell you. I wish you would, and all the rest of it too. Well, she resumed, for generations, the emperors of Ethiopia have worn a golden ring, once said to have been worn by King Solomon himself, before Haile Selassie left Addis Ababa. And when things looked darkest, he called Bishop Handam, told him of the impending Italian conquest, and gave him half of the King Solomon ring. Menelik's gold is to be given to no one unless they can produce the other half. So that's what they're hunting for, eh? Yes, the Italians are desperate. They are deeply in debt as a result of the Ethiopian disaster. No one will lend them any money because they can offer no security, nothing but boasting. The huge sum Menelik stored away would be more than enough for their purpose. Then the key to the whole situation is the half of the ring of King Solomon, Dick surmised. Yes, that's the whole thing. Once we can get into Ethiopia, get that gold and get out, we should be able to buy everything we need and send it in to our armies. Then Ethiopia will be free, he said, half to himself. Then Ethiopia will be free, she repeated. Suddenly, Dick asked, how did the Italians find out that there was such a ring? Traitors, she snapped with flashing eyes. Like Ras Restagusa? Particularly Ras Restagusa, she continued. That man has overweening ambitions. He wants to become emperor and is willing to do anything to have the honor. He is willing to serve any power that will pay his price. And he has absolutely no scruples whatever. Then you believe he's responsible for the death of John Danilo because he thought he could get the ring, which he knew you were carrying but didn't know where? Yes, but he is not alone. We must find out more about this Don Carlos of Nevada. I want to see him since it is in his cabin that the conspirators meet. But tell me, Princess, how did you manage to hide half the ring so well that those thugs couldn't find it? Where is it? They were completely baffled, weren't they? Well, after John Danilo handed me the half ring wrapped in a piece of paper, as you probably saw, I knew immediately that they would be after me. I had to think of a good hiding place, and I did. They'll never find it there. And you thought I was going to tell you where? I know you didn't really think that, did you? Did you really think I was going to tell you that he was going to tell you, that anybody was going to tell you where the ring is hid? Yeah, I don't think so. You don't seem to get this, okay? This is intrigue. This is international espionage at its best. And in this case, it's in an African country, which we rarely hear about things like this. But it has inspired me maybe to read some other stories. I do have some good ones. I've got some other good stories that I haven't read yet. And they're just coming to mind from other parts of Africa. Give you some more insight into what's been going on in the African countries outside of the jungle, since that's all we seem to hear about on TV is the African jungle, the mythical African jungle that's actually in South America, which is where they do all the filming of the Tarzan films anyway, or Tarzana, California. Pick your spot. Meanwhile, though, we're going to go ahead and close out this session. We're going to leave you in suspense. That was the end of Chapter 5. We'll come back tomorrow with the beginning of Chapter 6. With Chapter 6, we'll read the whole chapter. So we can see every day I can read a chapter, but apparently there's a good number of chapters left to read. So stick with us. Tell your friends and family. Don't forget to give us a like and a thumbs up if you're on YouTube. And of course, sign up, subscribe to the Tubular Black Facts channel. Peace out. Without a doubt, we'll be black tonight at 9 with more stories from Ethiopia. And let me just give a wave over here to Esther Owens. And I see Fred Freedom over there. Oh, I don't have a little thing to blink you there, Fred. But how you doing? And peace out.